What's going on, y'all? It's Drew. We're back with another video, and today it's going to be a little different than usual. I didn't really have like a coherent point for this one. Well, I never really have like a ton of coherent points, but today there's going to be like no coherent points. I'm just going to be going off. You see the title. I just needed to make this video because, man, this season's just been like pissing me off. And I just want to get my shit off and just sort of complain about this season because I think it really needs to lock in. Okay, so I guess I have a few notes here on some teams, some players, just some things that I wanted to talk about. I guess the first thing that we have to get out of the way, though, is the biggest thing that is like ruined this season for me. I don't know who turned up the injury sliders. I don't know who took away everyone's durability badges. But the injuries this year have been so horrible. Like, it's been just a disaster for, like, every single team in the NBA. Paulo Banchero's out. Chet Holmgren's out. I think Tyrese Haliburton is still dealing with the hamstring injury. Taylor Hendricks had, like, a freak leg injury where he broke his leg in half. D'Anthony Melton is already done for the year. Zion. I don't even need to discuss Joel Embiid. And we're not going to be discussing the Sixers in this video, by the way, because I've got a whole video coming out on them later in the week. But that team's a disaster because of him. Paul George keeps getting hurt. Scotty Barnes has missed time. Just the entire league. I'm pretty sure the Hornets have like 0 bigs in their entire rotation other than like Moussa Diabate, who they signed off the street because like their bigs just keep getting hurt. Grant Williams, another guy who's done for the year. His knee got shredded to pieces on like a non-contact drive to the basket. It's actually insane how many injuries there have been this season. And honestly, I can't even really keep up with them anymore. I'm probably missing a bunch. Yeah, that's probably been the biggest issue. But like other than that, there's been some other shit that's been pissing me off. I think the second biggest thing that I really want to discuss is just how truly trash garbage the Eastern Conference has been this year. I cannot turn on a game with a middle-of-the-road Eastern Conference team and watch it and really get up for it this season. I made a video about the Pacers, I think 2 days ago, and they have just been so mediocre. And the Brooklyn Nets somehow keep managing to find their way, floating around like 8-12. The Pistons are sort of going life and death with all these teams. The Raptors are like a really exciting 5-15 team, but they're like finding their way to like the losing end of like a bunch of like 5-point games. The Milwaukee Bucks, who are the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, they would be the 11th seed in the Western Conference this year. It is fucking atrocious how bad the Eastern Conference has been this year. And other than Boston and Cleveland, none of these teams are really exciting me. Orlando, I guess, is doing it for me as well. They've been like 12-1 in their last 13 games. Their defense is ironclad, and I think Paulo's coming back in a few weeks, so that team's really exciting. But like other than them, like I don't buy the Knicks with their 7-man rotation where you've got OG Anunoby playing 45 minutes a game in November. I don't really buy like the Bucks coming back from this. Their defense, I just don't know how it's going to hold up for the whole year when they don't really have good defensive personnel, if we're being for real. They haven't really fixed any of their issues. That team is just sort of like locked in a little bit more, but in the Eastern Conference, locking in means being 10-9 and almost having home court advantage in the fucking playoffs, I guess. The Cavs have like even fallen off this week because they lost twice to the Hawks. They won in Boston the other night, I understand that, but Boston was kind of banged up. And the Hawks have lost twice to the Wizards. The Wizards' only 2 wins this season have been against Atlanta, and somehow Cleveland's 2 of their 3 losses have also been against the Hawks, so I don't really know what's going on with that team. Shout out to Jalen Johnson for backpacking my entire fantasy team, but like other than that, I have no notes about the Hawks until they trade Clint Capella. Yeah, just the Eastern Conference has been really shit so far, like really like frustratingly bad, and I think part of it is that like the Nets were supposed to be food for a lot of these other teams, and they're going life and death with like the Denver Nuggets and winning games like that. They're winning a lot of games that we didn't think they'd have any business even being competitive in. I'm not really sure if Cam Thomas is good at basketball, but I know he's good at scoring a basketball. And other than that, like, I don't know, Cam Johnson's been cool this year. I'm not really sure what's going on with their center rotation. Nick Claxton's only playing like 19 minutes a game. That's enough about the Nets, though. The Hornets, I was really anticipating being awesome this year. And again, they have no centers. Mark Williams still hasn't made his season debut. Where is Mark Williams? Where is Kawhi Leonard? That's another one. I guess we'll transition to the West now. Like, where is Kawhi Leonard? He just, the Clippers, who are somehow miraculously finding their way to like a 12-7 record or something like that. Kawhi Leonard, I guess, just doesn't exist anymore for this team. Like, I think the NBA is just done with him, I guess. Like, what's going to happen when he comes back? Is he just going to insert himself as the number 2 option again? Norman Powell's been hooping. Like, they've been getting good production from pretty much all their wings, pretty much all their guards. So I'm not really sure like what Kawhi Leonard even does on this roster now. It almost feels like disruptive to what they're trying to build. We'll flip back to the Eastern Conference. I meant to sort of highlight Boston a little more because Boston this year has just, they're very, 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 very fucking good at basketball, but they just piss me off with the amount of 3-point shots. I don't want to sound like the old man yelling at the clouds, but you will turn on a Celtics game, and for 5 straight possessions, they'll get a defensive stop, come down the court, Drew Holiday shoots a 3. Defensive stop, come down the court, Peyton Pritchard shoots a 3, and probably makes it because Peyton Pritchard is just like Michael Jordan now, I guess. They'll come down, get another defensive up, and it'll be like 5 or 6 threes in a row before they even dribble within the arc. Like, it's insane the amount of threes they're taking. It's actually like pissing me off. They have legitimately become the villains of the NBA. Like, in a way where like I actually like hate Boston in the way that like everyone else hates Boston now. Joe Maz needs to chill out too, by the way. Like, do some ayahuasca, maybe like go on some sort of spiritual journey, because these schizophrenic little rants that he's having at the podium, I like it to a degree. I think he's interesting, but like I'm seeing these like hard edits of Joe Mazzulla. Like, I don't know how to square that guy. It's so weird. I guess some other things that have just been pissing me off. The Timberwolves this season have just been totally cooked. Like, they just don't exist anymore. We're going to be talking about them later in the week as well. But Julius Randle has been just a no-show for them the entire year. They're not getting anything from like Jaden McDaniels and Dante DiVincenzo, really. Anthony Edwards is shooting a lot of threes, and he's actually making them, but I would like to see him like get a poster dunk every now and then. The Kings have sort of been spinning their wheels as well in the Western Conference. It's weird. The West sort of has its own issue where we're starting to see the conference like sort of shape out in a way. But like there's a lot of teams that are like barely hovering above 500 that are just like starting to like concern me a little bit. And I'm not really sure how any of those teams are going to like stick out against each other. Like, I don't really see the Kings getting to like 50 wins at this point in this Western Conference. Same with the Timberwolves. And I was anticipating like the Timberwolves were going to be like the 3 seed this year. I guess I shouldn't really expect anything out of a Julius Randle team. But they've just been pissing me off this season too. And we'll talk about them later in the week. But yeah, this season just a lot of like really like frustrating, not a lot to get up for this season, I'm gonna be honest. And the rookie class, it's starting to shape up a little bit. Jared McCain has been so good and Dalton Knecht has been really solid lately that it's starting to look a little better. But the fact like the top 3 picks in this draft like just don't exist, like pretty much the only highlights are like middle of the pack first rounders, like that's really, really weird. Alex Sarr he's shooting like 38% from the field as a 7-footer. Zachary Risachet has actually been okay, but like for every good game he has, he'll have like 2 horrible games. I'm not really sure how to square him yet either. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like just like all these teams in the Western Conference are eating each other alive. Minnesota's finding ways to lose baseball series to the Blazers. LA hasn't beaten, and when I say LA, I mean the Lakers. I don't think they've beaten like they've beaten like 3 teams above 500 the whole year. Golden State's like sliding further and further down. Memphis, somehow, despite not having like half their roster is still winning games, even though now that John Morant's back, I think they're going to be in the win column for a while. Houston has sort of managed, in spite of all this, to like find themselves as the second seed in the Western Conference. And I love the Rockets. Amen Thompson, really, really good at basketball. Tari Eason as well. That defensive tandem has just been awesome for the Rockets. Like, that team is so weird because like every single player on their team like leads the league in plus minus. But like when you look at the Rockets, you're like, Jalen Green, is he good? Like, he hasn't really taken a step yet. Like, he hasn't really taken the leap that we hoped he would. It's like a playmaker, a three-point shooter. Yeah, and the Mavericks, they've also sort of been spinning their wheels. They've started to win without Luka, and Luka came back the other day, and I'm pretty sure they beat the Blazers. Yeah, they beat the Blazers when Luka's return, but that team, Luka has just not been very good this season. A lot of disappointing players this season overall, honestly. I think we should give Bam Adebayo a lot more shit for like not being great this year. He's averaging like 15 points a game. Heat just are like what is there to even say about the Miami Heat? Is there any interesting commentary about that team? Tyler Herro has been playing fantastic. Khalil Ware, we were expecting to be a big piece of it, but he like doesn't exist. Like, he's not real. Jimmy Butler keeps having ticky-tack injuries. So I don't even have anything interesting to say about the Heat. I don't really have anything interesting to say about a lot of these teams, honestly. I think a vast majority, or a large portion of the league, at the very least, has been really underwhelming this year. And the NBA has just got to lock in, bro, because this is getting out of hand. The injuries, the underwhelming teams, the underwhelming players. We're a quarter of the way through the season, and I'm still not confident that Bam Adebayo or Tyrese Halliburton, or a lot of guys who should be making the All-Star team, are going to make it over a guy like Norman Powell. So, yeah, season's got to lock in. Really not happy with it so far, but if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys enjoyed me ranting, most of the time it's not like this. I just wanted to get a few takes in the can. Hopefully there's some interesting stuff in there for you. I have no idea how hard I'm going to go in the edit with this one. If you guys did enjoy it, though, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And yeah, follow all the socials in the description. I've got Twitch down there. We're probably going to be rolling out some content over there next week once I'm done with finals. And that's going to do it for me. So cue that music.